Tom Brady got his guy. He knows a winner when he sees one.
Pickett over the middle. Touchdown.
Big Deke news. Former Steeler quarterback and Pitt legend Kenny Pickett was traded again, this time from the Browns to the Raiders for a 2026 fifth-round pick, who was once crowned as the Steelers' future at the quarterback position, Big Ben's successor. Kenny franchise now finds himself getting passed around the league like a Kardashian. Listen to this stat. If Kenny Pickett gets traded one more time, he will tie Brandon Cooks and Eric Dickerson for being traded the most times in NFL history. Hashtag Pitt, hashtag Steelers. Brandon Cooks' career is almost over, and he's been in the league for a while. Eric Dickerson's career is over, and he was in the league for a long time. Hall of Famer. We know who Eric Dickerson is. Kenny's only been in the league for 3 years, and he's almost tying trade records for NFL history. Pretty wild. Life comes at you fast in the league, man. I'm sure if Kenny could do it over again, go back last offseason, I'm sure he wouldn't have requested that trade. Now, would the Steelers want to do over? My guess is probably not. I think we're satisfied with having Rodgers here for $13 million.
It ain't about the money.
Now, there's multiple takes I have about this Kenny trade, obviously. First, did the Steelers miss out? It only took a fifth-round pick, a 2026 fifth-round pick, and you know we have a bunch of those 2026 picks to spare. We could have done that. Is it time for the old 8 to learn from the new 8?
Y'all know that ain't happening.
I mean, maybe we could have just traded Skylar Thompson for him straight up. Now, it seems like the Browns were trying to unload quarterbacks, not make an even swap and keep 4 on their roster. But I'm seeing people on Twitter after the Pickett trade asking, like, oh, if Pickett went for a fifth, what could you imagine what Skylar Thompson would go for? Not a fifth? What am I missing here? You think Skylar Thompson, because Kenny Pickett went for a fifth, Skylar Thompson should go for a fourth? Kenny's a former first-round pick, has a 15-10 record in the regular season as a starter in this league, 7 game-winning drives to his name. Skylar Thompson has none of that on his resume. I'm sorry, I'm just dumbfounded by the Skylar Thompson hype. Do people actually think that if we did trade Skylar Thompson, we get something like significant? We're getting that 7th-round pick if we're lucky. People thinking he's better than Mason, even Kenny. It's like crazy to me, bro. And we did that thought exercise on the live stream, that hypothetical of if you had one game, your life on the line, and it's the same Steelers team, it's the 2025 Steelers, just you're changing the quarterback, between Skylar Thompson and Kenny Pickett, game with your life on the line, who are you picking? Like, if you're not picking Kenny, I don't know what to tell you. And even if you want to throw Mason in the mix, if you're taking Skylar over either of those two, you just don't know ball. Like, that's just crazy. Whatever. For Kenny, though, going to the Raiders should actually be a good opportunity for him. You got a guy in Geno Smith in his own right who rose from the ashes to carve out a second stint to his career that's going to be in front of you and someone that you could learn from. Maybe.
Has it allowed you to see anything different, learn anything, and, take some lessons from it?
No.
Now, I don't got time for any West Virginia Pitt jokes. So if you want to go down that route, I'm just going to preemptively respond with 13-9. And also, Kenny Pickett was actually a Heisman finalist in college, whereas Geno Smith was not. But aside from that, going back to the opportunity, you're going to have Pete Carroll, Hall of Fame head coach, as your coach. That should help. That should be a positive for you in growing your career. And Tom Brady's in the building. If you want to talk about having a quarterback to, sound off with or pick his brain, Tom Brady, not a bad guy to have in the building. I think it's much better than being on the Browns because we know with the Browns, what can go wrong will go wrong.
The Browns is the Browns.
But Kenny did have an opportunity to start there. It seemed like, at least early in the offseason. But then, of course, got injured again, and that's what made him expendable and available via trade and why he's on a new team and why he's almost setting records for being traded in the NFL. But speaking of Brady, we know how he operates. meticulous in preparation. No decision made is just happenstance. So it's fair to assume he must have seen something in Kenny's game that he liked and feels like can be developed and feels like this guy could really help out the Raiders franchise. Because they had an opportunity to take a lot of quarterbacks in the draft. There's a lot of quarterbacks out there that are available too via trade right now. But Raiders waited in the wings and spent some draft capital to get KP8 in the house. Brady must have appreciated the clutch factor the KP8 brings. You know that phrase, real recognize real? It must have been, a winner recognizes a winner when he sees one and thinks that KP8 could be a nice part of the Raiders rebuild from now into the future. Anyway, let's move on because I know you guys are sick of this right now. I probably lost about 90% of the viewers for this video. So let's get to the Steelers roster because a lot is popping off right now. First, let's get to the cuts that were made today, and they involve a couple of surprises. We're about down to, I think, 10 or 11 players away from being cut to get it to the 53. The two notable surprises were Cam Johnston and Mark Robinson. The others were Julius Welshkoff, Lou Nichols. No, not Lou. Not Lou. That's a bummer. Max Hurlman, Lance McCutcheon, J.J. Galbraith, Stephen Jones, Aiden Williams, Kyler Baugh, Deshaun Jameson, Darryl Porter, and Ben Sauls. It's reported that we were going to try to trade Ben Sauls, but if there weren't any takers for a trade, we were just going to waive him, which is ultimately what we did. But yeah, that was a good almost move the Steelers made by bringing in Ben Sauls because he is a good kicker. By bringing him in, having him be Boswell's backup, giving him some preseason reps, and then actually try to turn him into some draft capital or something, but didn't work out, unfortunately. Yeah, Cam Johnston, Mark Robinson. Wasn't expecting the Cam Johnston one. We had the big punting battle this offseason between Waitman and Cam Johnston, two guys that are starting caliber punters in this league. Steelers had a battle of luxuries, I guess you could say, right here, where you got two starting punters going at it. No matter which one you pick, you can't go wrong. Cam Johnston, the more decorated punter, though. We gave him the big contract last offseason. Obviously got hurt week 1 against the Falcons, which enabled us to bring Corliss Waitman in, and he had an excellent season for us. And we were able to keep both around this offseason, and we thought Cam Johnston had the upper leg because of the contract and the name and, again, being more decorated. But you could also look at it on the flip side. If the competition's that close, if the Steelers don't view there being much difference between the two, and they could save $2 million, they're going to go that route. There's not that much difference between Cam Johnston and Corliss Waitman in the Steelers' mind, and we get to save $2 million, we're going to go with Corliss Waitman. I think it's kind of just that simple. It was a business decision, but I'm also happy to have Corliss Waitman because he was really good for us last year too. I don't hate on the move at all. I think it was just a little surprising given, again, Cam Johnston's stature in the league with the tenure that he has, being a starting punter for, what is it, up to this point, 6 or 7 years, and has always been solid, really good. We gave him the contract, whereas Corliss Waitman kind of has bounced around a little bit, but every opportunity he's got, from my perspective, whether it was here in Denver, he's excelled, and then last year was the best example of that. So now we'll see if he can keep it up going into 2025 with the Steelers giving him the full opportunity again. And then Mark Robinson. I said he was going to make the team. These are actually two I got wrong. I said it was going to be Cam Johnston and Mark Robinson making the squad. So already two I missed on right here from my 53-man roster projections. Mark Robinson, though, I should have known. Did I overthink it? Whenever you're weighing factors for some of these fringe guys to make the team, I think you should always side with the family element. I think you should always go with that. Because now with Mark Robinson being cut, that opens up the lane for Mark Bruner to be the 5th inside linebacker and special teams guy that Mark Robinson was going to be for us. But I said in my predictions, it's going to be Mark Robinson over Bruner because of Mark Robinson's familiarity. He's already been a pretty good special teams guy for us. But no, the family factor outweighs everything. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget. So yeah, Mark Robinson no longer on the team. Carson Bruner looks like high probability that he's going to be making it as our 5th inside linebacker. But the last thing I want to go over for today's show, we started talking about Raiders stuff, and we're going to finish talking about Raiders stuff. And both have their ties to the Steelers. Obviously, with the Raiders trading for Kenny Pickett. Kenny is a former Steelers quarterback, former Steelers first-round pick. In this case, though, you have a current Raiders receiver in Jakobi Meyers requesting a trade. He's not happy with contract extensions talk between him and the organization. He wants a new deal, and he's requesting a trade. He put it formally out there. And the Steelers are still reportedly in the market for a receiver. Just when I think, Steelers, we're kind of good. We don't need another receiver. We don't need to trade for anyone. We don't need to look anymore. Calvin Austin, he's back healthy. We're high on Roman Wilson. Scotty Miller was doing stuff this offseason, and obviously we got DK Metcalf. We got a bunch of tight ends, 3-headed monster at running back. We got enough weapons. I think we're good. I think we're actually fine with what we got. Let's see what it looks like week 1 at least and early into the season. Then you got a Jakobi Meyers requesting trade. Just when I was out, just when I thought we were good, I'm pulled back in with the trade talks. Yeah, Jakobi Meyers would be a really nice number 2 receiver. Has been a productive guy year in and year out for the last 4 or 5 seasons with shit quarterback situations, whether you're going back to New England or talking about with the Raiders more recently. Last year had over 1,000 yards with who was even their quarterbacks last year? I don't even know. I mean, Aiden O'Connell was one of them. Who else did they trot out there for some of those games? I mean, I can't even remember. It's been bad. It's been bad, though, and he's a really good receiver. It just flat out. I mean, you want to talk about route running. You want to talk about size, hands. Would be a perfect number 2 receiver in any system. We could talk about him fitting with Arthur Smith, but in reality, like, he's a perfect number 2 for any team out there that's looking for a receiver. So if Steelers are one of those teams, Jacoby's not happy with the Raiders, and they just signed Amari Cooper today for some cheap-ass deal. One year, like $3.5 million, something crazy. So they added a receiver, probably insurance, in case they do trade Jakobi Meyers. The Raiders said that they don't want to trade him, and this has kind of been the story with a bunch of these trade requests. Whatever receivers you want to bring up with, or just any player with these trade requests that have happened recently, ultimately the deal gets done sometime after that. These trade requests not really meaning much anymore. It's more of a negotiation ploy from my standpoint, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. So even with Jakobi Meyers requesting this trade, Raiders are saying they have no desire to trade him. I'm sure the most likely scenario is he stays with the Raiders, because if they trade him, they're kind of screwed at receiver. I know they just signed Amari Cooper, but after him, it's like rookie Jack Beck from TCU. Like, they're screwed at receiver if they don't have Jakobi Meyers. So they're going to get a deal done, would be my best guess. But if not, Omar Khan, let's look into it. I'm sure he already has. I'm sure 2 minutes after the trade request was put in, Omar Khan was making some phone calls. What would we have to give up? This is always the question with this trade stuff. I don't want to give up Calvin Austin and Roman Wilson. I'm not going to lie. If we could get away with just trading a draft pick, that's what I would want to do the most. Yeah, just trade a draft pick. Like, there's levels to this. You know, it's different if we were trading for Terry McLaurin. Maybe you have to give up a Calvin Austin. You have to give up a Roman Wilson. Jakobi Meyers ain't Terry McLaurin. So I would still like to have Roman Wilson, Calvin Austin here alongside Jakobi Meyers. The more weapons, the better. The more depth, the better. And if anything, talking about depth, that's another reason why you would want to make this type of move, is because if DK Metcalf goes down, you're kind of cooked at the receiver position of having that number 1. I think Jakobi Meyers could moonlight as a wide receiver 1 for a few games if DK Metcalf goes down. Now, luckily, DK Metcalf is one of the more reliable, available guys in the league at the receiver position, but it's never going to hurt to have that extra insurance. And Jakobi Meyers, as I said, as a wide receiver 2, perfect fit. But then, yeah, as a guy that can get you out of a stadium or two, with the surroundings that we got on offense and defense, as you know, Jakobi as your wide receiver 1, I think that could be something that we could deal with as well. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments of a Jakobi Meyers trade. I would hope maybe a fourth round pick, and we give him the contract that he's looking for. Nothing crazy, like a 4-year deal, probably like 2 or 3 years. There's an out after 2 years. $20 million per. That's what I would be looking at. Maybe like $22, $23 million per. I think that would be reasonable. But I don't know. Yeah, actually, I don't even know what the exact number he's looking for. But maybe I'll look into that more tomorrow. Just wanted to get that out there today. Again, let me know your thoughts. That's it for today's vid. Stay chilling. Peace.